MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Megan Thompson here at the Cardwell General Store, located just off Interstate 90 at the base of a large pass that was the site of a massive pileup. And coming right up, I'll introduce you to the owners of the store who kept their business open after hours to help weary travelers who were stranded on the interstate in the wake of the crash.
I'm Jonathan Ambarian in Helena. I'll have a closer look at a new proposed federal rule that some Montana business leaders believe could have a negative impact on them.
And the Iowa caucuses are 1 week away. So this week, the candidates will be making their last-ditch effort to garner support. So what issues reign supreme for Iowans?
I mean, Lily is a force. She's incredible.
And Montana's own Lily Gladstone made history Sunday night. We're going to take a look back at her work and the message that she hopes to send to young kids just like her. Alrighty, it is 6:30 now on this Tuesday edition of Montana This Morning. Jay McDonald and Matt Elwell with you. Well, traffic's moving along just fine, but if you're going on the roadways, Matt, the big issue is just be aware.
Be aware and just pay attention to changing weather conditions, because as we go later in the day, the wind's going to pick up. We'll see some snow. There'll be some blowing and drifting snow. Visibility is going to go down pretty quickly as you go through the day. Here's a look at our temperatures. This is all pleasant, 20s, teens, near 30 in some cases, but the wind will be an issue along with some scattered snow. The snow itself is not going to pile up from the sky. It's going to be blowing across the ground, I think, and I do have some significant concerns about blowing and drifting snow over the course of the next 18 hours or so. So as we get closer to the noon hour on into the evening and overnight, I do believe that we're going to be facing some low visibility and some significant driving concerns here later in the day. So that is my concern, but we are also talking scattered snow showers and much colder temperatures as we move later into the week. We're going to take a deep dive into that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Now our top story this half hour, a fatal pileup crash west of Whitehall near Cardwell is sparking a call for the Montana Department of Transportation to warn truck drivers about a dangerous stretch of the interstate. Our Megan Thompson met with the store owner who is urging that action.
Well, this little general store located just off Interstate 90 at the base of Cardwell Hill was a site of respite for some weary travelers who found themselves stuck on the interstate for hours after a large crash.
Up on that pass, it's flagged yellow for 45 for truckers, but they ignore it. And I really hope that the State Department will consider that and put it 25 like Homestake Pass.
Lori Perry and her husband Curtis were on their way home from church in Belgrade when they came across the deadly crash that took the life of 26-year-old Katie Montgomery of Salt Lake City, Utah. There
was no flaggers or anything, and people were coming in hot, and then hitting their brakes, and it was icy.
Jefferson County sheriffs reported a multi-vehicle crash on I-90 westbound on Cardwell Hill between Three Forks and Cardwell just before noon on Sunday, January 7th. And I-90 remained closed for several hours due to the significance of the accident. The eyewitnesses reported was caused by a jackknifed semi.
We are sending all of our prayers to all those that were injured and all those families that were in jeopardy of everything. It just was very sad.
Lori says that she and her husband were happy to serve motorists late into the night as they slowly made their way down the mountain after the crash. But she says that she would like to see speed limit changes to this dangerous section of interstate. In Cardwell, Megan Thompson, MTN News.
And the Montana Highway Patrol continues its investigation into last week's fatal crash near Three Forks. 22-year-old Lisa Grewell was killed last Thursday morning while driving eastbound on I-90. Her car was struck head-on by a car traveling the wrong way near milepost 278. According to MHP, the wrong-way driver, who was injured in the accident, is still being treated in the hospital. MHP tells us charges against the driver are pending and could be filed by the end of the week. And a federal agency has proposed a new rule that would expand which businesses have to be involved with certain labor negotiations. And some business leaders in Montana are raising concerns about the impact it could have. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has a closer look at the issue.
The National Labor Relations Board is preparing to implement a new joint employer rule. In a call last week, several representatives of Montana businesses said they're concerned it could have a chilling effect on them, and they're calling on members of Montana's congressional delegation to push back against the rule. The new rule says businesses that can exert control over the terms and conditions of employment have to be involved in collective bargaining, even if that control is indirect. Jason Small, executive secretary of the Montana AFL-CIO, says it's a worker protection measure that fixes a loophole.
All this rule is saying is if a company has the power to implement changes in the workplace, they have to be at the bargaining table.
But some business leaders said Friday they're concerned about unintended consequences, especially for franchises, like chain restaurants and other companies that have independent local owners.
A lot of the franchises that we think about as big business aren't big business. They just bought the business model. So there's small business owners here in Montana who employ hundreds and thousands of employees.
Mike Ferretti is CEO of Great Harvest Bread Company, which has almost 200 independently owned stores across the country, but is headquartered in Dillon, Montana. He says when a similar standard was in effect during the Obama administration, the company spent heavily to make sure they were in compliance, and they'd have to do so again if it returned.
We were going through this with our franchise attorney on a monthly basis, making sure that we didn't do anything that would trigger an obvious impact to us.
Senator Steve Daines has signed on as a co-sponsor to a resolution calling to block the new rule, saying it's heavy-handed and threatens jobs. A spokesperson for Senator John Tester said he's continuing to have conversations with Montanans about what impacts the rule might have on businesses and labor relations. Currently, the new rule is set to go into effect on February 26th. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
And the Iowa caucuses are 1 week away, and this week the candidates will make their final pitches to Iowans, who will kick off the presidential nominating process this year. But as our Joe St. George explains, if you think the only issues that Iowans care about involve farms and agriculture, well, you would be unfairly stereotyping the state.
You are about to hear a lot about the state of Iowa. The Iowa caucuses, after all, only happen every 4 years, and they are just days away. But who exactly participates in these caucuses? Well, we dug into the data and found that if your perception of Iowa is only about cornfields and farms, well, that's perhaps one way to lose an election. Let's face it, Iowa does have a bit of a reputation for farming, and in politics, the presidential candidates seem to be frequently near a tractor or a cornfield, or talking about farm issues in their speeches.
But they'd go out and mortgage the farm to pay the tax.
But is this agriculture stereotype a fair one?
I live in Iowa City, Iowa.
For answers, we turn to Daniel Lathrop, a data reporter who lives in Iowa and works for us here at Scripps News. He dug into the numbers and surprised us when he said this.
Iowa used to be a farm state. It's really not anymore. Somewhere around 5% of the workforce is in agriculture. There are only about 15,000 what we would call working farms in the entire state.
And many of those farms, Lathrop says, are hobby farms. In fact, if you want to better understand what Iowans do for a living, you should look at who sponsors the big arena in Des Moines, a bank.
There are about 90,000 people who work in banking, insurance, finance.
But those weren't the only numbers that may be surprising about Iowa. Of the 1.5 million plus active voters in the state, only around 180,000 participated the last time Republicans had competitive caucuses. Just 40 delegates to the Republican convention will be awarded. That's less than 2% of the total Republican delegates nationwide. As far as the overall economy, the unemployment rate in Iowa is lower than the national average. It also lacks the diversity of many other states. 89% of the state is white, for example, according to the census. But regardless of what the data says, the reality is Iowa matters because it is first. And while the polls still show former President Donald Trump as the favorite to win, if he wants to have a historic blowout, well,
to set a record, he has to hit 30 points.
Joe St. George, Scripps News, Des Moines.
And Montana's own Lily Gladstone made history Sunday night when she became the first Indigenous person to win the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Drama. And her win is reaching audiences near and far. but especially those who knew her during her time at the University of Montana. MTN's Derek Joseph has this story.
And the Golden Globe goes to Lily Gladstone!
Lily Gladstone, a member of the Blackfeet Nation, has made history as the first Indigenous woman to win Best Actress at the Golden Globes for her performance in Killers of the Flower Moon. Before she became an award-winning actor, she was a student at the School of Theater and Dance in Missoula. Gladstone's former director, Bernadette Sweeney, recalls the first time she worked with her.
I was actually here as a visiting professor from Ireland, and I was directing a production of Riders to the Sea. And I cast Lily in that production, and it was her first production here at the School of Theatre and Dance.
Sweeney said she was impressed with Gladstone's intelligence and curiosity as a young actor, but years later, when she was working as a staff member for the school, there was another characteristic about her that stood out.
I was really, again, struck by how she had matured as an actor and how she was really careful to mentor good working practices to the undergraduates that were in that production with her.
Gladstone also used those mentoring skills when she worked at the Roxy Theater's Film Academy teaching kids about the art of filmmaking. The Roxy Theater's executive director saw how seriously she took her work from day one.
I mean, Lily is a force. She's incredible. And when she worked here, she was no less incredible. I mean, she she really took on the role of teaching the filmmaking, but also acting and, camera techniques. She ran the entire program the time that she was here.
Oscar nominations aren't out yet, but Gladstone will most likely be a contender. In Missoula, Derek Joseph, MTN News.
All right, now we're going to take a break here on Montana This Morning, but when we come back, you don't have to be an avid gamer to know about the game Tetris. Well, the game is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, and to mark that occasion, a teenager decided to do the impossible, and he beat the game. But how? We're going to explain coming up.